Alright, in this video, we're going to go through on Anglo-Chinese School Primary. So 2024 end of year examination, paper 1, booklet B, Math Primary 5. So let's get started on question 16. So question 16 says, what is the value of 30 minus 5 plus 4 divided by 3? Okay, so usually what you need to do is you need to do the brackets first. Okay, so this is order of operations. Okay, so number one, you need to do the bracket. Okay, number one, you need to do the bracket. Okay, then number two, you need to do the multiply and divide. And then number three, you then wait, this is number two. Then number three is you have to, in a way, add and subtract. Okay, so this one from left to right in this case over here. Okay, so this is the order of operation from left to right: bracket, multiply, divide, and add or subtract. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this as a little box over here. Okay, all right, so with this we can start with this, right? So 30 minus bracket 5 plus 4. Okay, and then we have divide by 3. Okay, so with this we start with this one first, right? So I'm just gonna highlight this 5 plus 4, and then so this will give us 30 minus 9, and then we have divide by 3, right? So I'm gonna just highlight this, divide by 3. Okay, so next one is, oops, 9 divided by 3. I'm going to highlight this. Maybe a different color. No need lah. Okay, let's make it consistent. So 9 divided by 3 is 3 itself. So 30 minus 3. Okay, and then we can just, continue as what I see over here. So there you go. The answer to this question is 27. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 17. Right, in this case, it says here, find the value of 20.12 minus 8.09. So most of the time, number one, right? Okay, number one for decimal, right? So basically make all decimal place all decimal numbers to the longest decimal place, right? So in this case, the longest decimal place is two decimal place. Okay, and luckily both of them are in two decimal place. Then the last one is just to do the workings lah, right? So in this case, it says here, right, 20.12 minus 8.09, right? So whoops, okay, like this. All right, so what we can do is we can just normally minus. So it's the same as, to be honest, if you have the 20.12, okay, minus 8.09. Okay, I'm gonna make this a bit bigger. So yeah, it will look something like this, right? Nothing new. It's just a plain old simple subtraction, right? Okay, so over here, what you can do is, uh, like I can just box them up like 12 minus 9 and then 20 minus 8, right? In this case. So what basically this will be 0.3, right? And then gonna put this here. This will be 12. Whoops. Dot 12. Right, 1203. Okay, so yeah, that's roughly the answer, right? Okay, the answer to this is pretty straightforward, 12.03. Okay, so answer 12.03 in this case over here. All right, that's all. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 18. Right, so the figure below is made out of four identical squares. One square is divided by equally into four triangles. What fractions of the figure is unshaded? Okay, so we have four of this over here, and then we have this, I would say, three shaded parts. So in essence, right, one square over here will be, let me put here, So 1 square will be 4. Okay, 4 unshaded part, 4 unshaded part, 4 unshaded part. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. Easier will be just putting the lines, right? That's what you see over here. Okay, so like this. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with the rest of the squares. That's what you see over here. Okay, there you go. Right. So now you can count. Right. So the total parts is equal to 4 times 4, which is 16. Okay, and then shaded. So do you want shaded? Okay, shaded parts is equal to 3. Unshaded parts is equal to 16 minus 3 equals to 13. So therefore, what's the fraction? Okay, okay, so fraction of unshaded parts. Okay, actually pretty straightforward. In this case, it's actually 13 out of 16, right? In this case, that's it. Can't really simplify because 13 is a, for you interested in math, 13 is a prime number because 13 can only divide by itself. So the answer to this is 13 out of 16. Okay, and there you go. That's it. Answer is 13 out of 16. All right, let's move on. So basically, splits the okay, draw the lines. Draw the lines to create 4 equal triangles in all squares. Basically, that's what I did lah. Okay, in this case, draw the lines. Yeah, there you go. Okay, next one. Question 19. Okay, question 19 says Andy folds 6 paper cranes in 10 minutes. At this rate, how many paper cranes can Andy fold in 50 minutes? Okay, so what you can do is you can write 10. Okay, so you can write 6 paper cranes. Oops, cranes. Right. Okay, and this will give us 10. It requires 10 minutes, right? So you can reverse this. Okay, 10 minutes equal to 6 paper cranes. Okay, pretty straightforward. Right, so since we can reverse this, right, how about 50 minutes? Okay, so 50 minutes, how many paper cranes? Not 6, huh? How many paper cranes can we do? Right, so essentially from 10 minutes to 50 minutes over here, right? Give it, let me put the arrow a bit higher to 50 minutes. So 10 minutes to 50 minutes, we multiply by 5. So that means 5 times 6, which is equal to 30 paper cranes. That's about it. So there you go. The answer is 30. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Question 20. Right. Question 20 says find the value of 7,400 divided by 4. Okay. Pretty straightforward. We can just do the workings now, right? So 7,402. And then we can have this divided by 4, right? Okay, so we can actually work on the first number. Okay, so 7402. So we can just minus 4, because 7 can minus 4. So we just minus 4, and this will give us 1 over here. All right, so 7, 4. So this will give us 3. Okay, 3 cannot be minus 4, so we can have 34. So what is a multiple of 4 that we can minus from 34? So the closest one will be minus 28. Okay. Right. So minus 28. No, sorry. Minus not 28. 32. Right. Okay. So this will give us 18. So 34 minus 32. Okay. And this will give us 2 over here. Right. In this case, 2. Alright, so 2 cannot be minus 4, then we bring down 0. So this will be 20, right? So what can 20 do? So 20, we can minus 20 also, right? So let's do that. So minus 20, okay? Right, so what is 20? basically is 5 times 4, right? And then this will leave us with 2. Okay, so 2 over here. So we cannot minus 2 over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 0. We're going to add a 0 from 2 over here. So 2.0. So we know. And then in this case, we minus 2.0 or 20 in this case. Minus 2.0. Okay. So let me just move this line to over here. And this will give us 0. Okay. Pretty straightforward. All right. So in this case, this will give us 0.5. So 740 divided by 4 is equal to 1850.5. Okay. So I would recommend you to actually double check the work. So how do I do that? You can multiply. So I'm going to write down a line over here. Go right here. Double check. Okay. So in this case, we have 1850.5 and then we multiply by 4 in this case over here. Okay. So let's do that. So 1850 divided 1850.5 times 4. So in this case, 4 times 5 is 20, 0, dot. Okay, then we put 2 over here. Okay, 2 in this case. And then 0 times 4 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Okay, and the next one, 5 times 4 is 20, 0. Then we're going to put 2 again over here. 8 times 4 is 32. 32 plus 2 is 34. So we're going to put 4 and then we're going to 3 over here. 3. No, not 4, 3. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 is 7. So final answer 7402. Okay, that means this is correct. Yeah. Green. Correct. Okay, very good. All right, so always double check your answers in this case. Okay, the answer is 1850.5. All right, let's move on to question 21. So question 21 says a machine takes 3 minutes to print 8 posters. At the same rate, how long will it take to print 56 posters? Okay, so we know in this case, 8 posts, 3, whoops. So 3 minutes, we can print 8 posters. So we can reverse this, right? So 8 posters is in 3 minutes, right? So how many posters can we do in what do you call this? How many minutes? Yeah, literally how many minutes? Okay. So in this 8 to 56, which is basically multiplied by 8. So 56 divided by 8 is 8. So that means in this we can have 3 times 8. This will give us 24 minutes. Wait, not 8 times 8, 8 times 7, right? My bad. Oh god, yeah, luckily 21 minutes. There you go. So the answer to this is 21 minutes, right? All right, question number 22. Mr. Tan gave $60 to Steve and Andy in the ratio of 2:3. How much did Andy get? All right, so in this case, for the ratio, what we can do is we can have like Steve. All right, so if I were to make it a little bit easier to see, Steve is 2, right? So it's not get confused, right? So Steve will be 2 units and Andy is 3 units. So Mr. Tan gave $60 to both Steve and Andy, right? So that means in this case, the total total units is equal to 5 units, And that means total, I would say money is equal to $60. So that means in this case, 5 units is equal to $60. So then we can get 1 unit, which is equal to 60 divided by 5. And this will give us $12, right? Okay, so what is ND? ND is basically, in this case, ND is 3 units. So from here, what we can do is we can just multiply 3 units is equal to 3 times 12, which is $36. And that's the answer. The answer to this is $36. There you go. All right, that's for question 22. Let's move on to question 23. Okay, question 23 says CT, Betty, and Matilda each has some stems. CT has twice as many stems as Betty. CT has 4 times as many stems as Matilda. So if Betty has 908 stems, how many more stems does CT have than Matilda? Alright, so let's go through step by step. First sentence doesn't really matter. So you can either do this, I think most of the time will probably be, I would say, um, models, right? So CT over here, and then we have Betty as well, right? So the sentence says CT has twice. So that means CT in this case, twice means, let me just put it over, twice means, right, times 2, right? So CT has times 2 of Betty. So we're going to draw CT 2 rectangles and then Betty 1 rectangle in this case over here, right? So CT has 2 times as many as Betty in this case. Next one, I think this is pretty straightforward. CT has 4 times as many stems as Matilda. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so if I were to elongate this, so CT has 4 times as many stems as Matilda. So that means CT in this case will have 4 times, so 1, 2, and then 3. Whoops, delete this. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then Matilda over here, Matilda, okay, Matilda has 1 time, okay, in this case over here. So what does that mean for Betty? Betty will actually have 2 units. That's what you see over here, right? So in this case, if I were to draw another smaller line to outline this, so Betty, CT has twice as many as Betty in this case, right? What you see over here. Okay, so this is what it means over here, right? So I'm gonna highlight this as pink as well, so it makes sense to this case. All right, so now we know this. Now we know that if Betty has 908 stems, how many more stems does CT have than Matilda? So the question asks for how many more, right? Not how many have someone have, right? Which in this case is this. Okay, so we are looking for this, right? So Betty over here has 908 stems. Okay, so 908 stems is this 908, and we don't know the amount, but we already know that this amount over here, let me put a dotted line so it's easier to see, is actually 3 units, right? So we are looking for 3 units, question mark, or 3 units. Okay, 3 units basically, right? Okay, so we know that in this case 2 units is equal to 908. 1 unit, right, is equal to 908 divided by 2. So this will give us, in this case, 45, 4, right? So if I were to give you a simple hack, basically 908 is equal to 900 divided by 2, right? Plus 8 divided by 2. Quick math, right? And this one will become 450 plus 4. That's how I do this mentally. or accurately. But for me, I always wanna double check, right? Using the actual workings, right? So in this case, what we want to do is we want to actually have it like this, right? So 9 in this case, and then with another line over here. Okay, so from here I can quickly just minus 8, okay, and this will give us 4. All right, and then with this line over here, 9 minus 8, this will give us 1. We bring down 0, 10, okay, that we can minus 10 as well, right? In this case, minus 10, right? And then this will give us 5. So 5 times 2 is 10. And last one, we will have 8. So 8 minus 8, right? 8 minus 8, this will give us 0. Okay. Oops. In this sense over here. So 8 is basically 4 in this case. So 454. All right. So that means I'm correct over here. So what we want to get is the difference, which is 3 units. So 3 units is equal to, you can see 2 units plus 1 unit, right? So it's basically 908 plus 454, right? In this case, all right. So, right, this will equal to, so let's do the working for 908 plus 454. Let me put this maybe on top here. So 908 plus 454. Let's make it this, right? Let's have a line over here. So for this 8 plus 4, this will give us 12. We're going to put 1 on top over here. 1 plus 5. Okay, this will give us 6. 9 plus 4 is 1362. So the answer to this is 1362. 1362 in this case, right? So yeah, so the answer to this is 1362. Okay, so let me just highlight this. Shift D. How many more stems does CT have than Multida, which is basically this? Okay, all right, so the answer to this is 1362. So that's what we're looking for. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 24, right? So in this figure below, AFD and BFC are straight lines. So AFD and BFC are straight lines. So usually what I want to do is I want to highlight them so that I know these are straight lines. Okay. So next thing is ABC. Oh, sorry, ABC. ABC is 37 degrees. And so ABC, right, is 37, and BAF is 72 degrees. So find Y. Okay, so in this case, we know that since these two lines are straight, that means the opposite angles are the same, right? So what we can do is we can say angle, right? So let me put it as black. Y is equal to the same as angle, right? What's this? BFA. So BFA. So that means if I were to do this, so basically angle BFA, pretty straightforward, right? Angle BFA is equal to 180 minus 37 minus 72. Oops, 72. Right? In this case, so if I were to add 37 and 72 together, basically I will have 109, right? 109, and this will give me 71 degrees. In this case over here, right? There you go. So that's the answer, right? So this one, it says opposite angles are the same, right? So BFA, let me make this share to this one, and then I'm gonna draw the line that is also yellow, which is this. Okay, whoops, this, right? BFA, opposite, same angles are the same if two lines are straight. In this case over here, right? That's it. So the answer to this question is 71 degrees. Okay, let me make it black. 71 degrees in this case. All right, that's it. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 25. Question 25. So Chungming and Naomi had $13 and $45 respectively. They were given an equal amount of money. Naomi had twice as much money as Chongming. How much did each of them receive? Okay, so in this case, what I want to do, it's somewhat sort of, you could call it as, it's not really repeated identity concept, but let me just show you. Okay, so you have Chongming, right? And you also have Naomi, right? Okay, so in this case over here, what we want to do is we want to highlight this, which is they were given an equal amount of money. So in a way, you could say that this thing over here, whoops, don't want this. What I want is this, right? So we have equal amount of money for both Chongming, right, and Naomi in this case, right? Equal amount of money. And then after that, we also know that each of them at first have $13 and $45 in this case. Okay, so that means if I were to put this over here, so 13, wait, so this one dollars, can I type down dollars 13? All right, so I'm gonna put it over here. Okay, dollars 13, and then you have dollars 45 in this case over here. Okay, dollars 45. Okay, so we know that at first they have this and then they have equal amounts, and now they have twice as many as in this case over here, right? The Naomi has twice as much money as Chongming. So what does this mean? So this means, I'm gonna make it small. Chongming has 1 unit over here, and then Naomi has 2 units over here in this case, right? Oops, right? So I'm gonna move this here. Okay, so right, so can you guess how much is 1 unit, right? In this case, okay. So if I were to draw a arrow with this, so this is 1 unit, 1 unit, all right, and then this is 1 unit, and this is 1 unit as well. Okay, so I think can guess how many. What is 1 unit in this case, right? So in this case, 1 unit is basically just 45 minus 13 lah, right? Is equal to 45 minus 13, well, not 23, 13 is equal to $32. Okay, pretty straightforward. All right, so now we want to say, in this case, how much money did each of them receive? Okay, so we want to know how much the money here, in this case over here. So we know that 1 unit is 32, so we can go to Chongming. So money received is equal to 32 minus 13 lah, right? Minus 13, and make sure you double check, the answer should be $19. That's it. The answer is 19. Whoops, $19. Here you go. That's it. Right. Okay, let's move on to the next question, question 26. All right. The average of a set of two numbers is 12.6. The average of another set of two numbers is 19.9. What is the average of the four numbers? Okay, so in this case, we have the average. Oh, this is small, sorry. That's why it's a little bit small here. Okay, so average of first two numbers is equal to 12.6, right? So that means the total is basically total of first two numbers, which is 12.6 times 2, right? This will give you 12.6 times 2 is 52 lah. 52. Okay. No, not 52, sorry. 25.2. Okay. So how do you get 25.2? 12.6 times 2, right? To just double check. Right. So for me, I'm okay with what do you call this? Mentally work, but always double check, right? 6 times 2 is 12. Put 1 over here, right? So 1 times 2, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and then 2, right? Always double check. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer, 252. Okay, so now let's do the other one, which is average of second two numbers and second. So this is 19.9. 19.9. So you times 2 for this, Okay, 19.9 times 2. This will give me 39.8. So to double check again, so I'm going to use this, duplicate this. Okay, I can put here actually lah. So it's not 25.2. I'm just going to put 19.9. So 9 times 8 is 18, right? And then I'm going to put 1 over here. 9 times 2 is 18 again, plus 1 is 19 dot 19. And then I'm going to put 1 here. So 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. 398. There you go. All right, so now we need to add them up. Okay, so total of 4 numbers equal to 25.2 plus 39.8. Okay, so this will give us 65. Okay, so I want to double check again. So always do your workings, right? So we have the two numbers, okay, which is 39.8 over here, right? And then we plus 25.2. Oops. 25.2. Okay, so in this case, if we were to add them up, this will give us 0 point. So we put 1 over here. 1. So 9 plus 5 is 14, 15, 5, 1 over on top. 3 plus 2 is 5, 6, 65. Okay. So now we have the total number of 65. We want to have the average of 4 numbers, which is basically 65, then divide by 4. Okay, so this will give us 65 over 4, 32.5, 16.25. Okay, so double check again. In this case, what is 65? And then we have 4, then we divide them as well. Okay, so let me just focus on this. All right, 45 divided by 6. Oh, no, 65 divided by 4. Sorry. Okay, so yes, let's focus. Okay, so 65. So what we need to do, actually, we need to have a bit longer one. 4 over here, 4 minus 6. Okay, so this will give us 1. Okay, then 4 minus 6 will give us 2, right? So 2, then we bring down 5, 25. So we can minus this by 24. And what would this give us? 6, right? And then this will give us 1, right? But the thing is, we don't have another number, so we need to put, in this case, 0.0, right? Okay, so let me just put like this. Okay, 65.0, so 1.0, and then we minus 1.0 as well. Okay, so wait, sorry, 10, not 1.0. We cannot minus 10. We only can minus 0.8, right? So 0.08. So this one will be 0.2, right? So like this, okay. And then what would this give us? Oh, this is very big. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller. So I see over here. So this will give us 2, right? So 2. So we need to bring 0 because we cannot have 2 minus 4. So we minus 20, which is 5. And there you go. So the answer to this is 16.25. So the average number to this is 16.25. 25. Right, so the answer to this is 16.25 in this case over here. Alrighty, let's move on. Question 27. Okay, so the figure below is made up of two identical trapezium. What is the value of angle A, angle B, angle C, and angle D? Alright, so I already know the answer, but the answer is actually pretty straightforward. So trapezium trapezium, right? So in essence, trapezium total angles, trapezium total angles is 360, right? 360 degrees, right? So we know that a trapezium, one trapezium total angle is 360 degrees. So we also know that there is two right angles in this case over here, right? 1 and 2. So if I were to do this, so you have an angle C plus angle D, then we have plus 90 plus 90, okay, and this will equal to 360, right? Right, transmit total is 360, so you just add them up. So 360 is equal to 180 plus C plus D, right? So plus C plus D is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? Same thing as A and B as well, right? So in this case, if you know the answer, then yeah, it's pretty straightforward, right? So in this case, the same A plus B plus 90, right? So in this case, B, C, and D will be A and B, right? A and B. Okay, so with that, angle A plus B plus C plus D, okay, is equal to 180 plus 180, okay, and that is equal to 360. So if you know that either side of the trapezium will equate to 180, you can just do the last part actually, right? So for me, why I did this is because it's easier to explain, right? Okay, so in this case, 360. Not easier to explain, but easier to understand. That's roughly about it. So it's 360 lah. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 28. Right, so Danny is 11 years old now. Eric is thrice as old as Danny. What was the ratio of Danny's age to Eric's age 3 years ago? Right, so important point over here, right? 3 years ago. So let's say current Danny age is 11 years old, like 11 years old. And then we have current Eric age is 3 times. So it's 3 times 11, which is 33 years old. So we want to know 3 years ago. So 3 years ago is equal to minus 3. Is minus 3, right? So example, I'm 10 years old 3 years ago. Okay, never mind, just minus 3 lah. Understand that first. Okay, so in this case, Danny's age 3 years ago, right, is equal to 11 minus 3, which is equal to 8. And then Eric's age, so I'm just gonna write this whole thing, right? So Eric age 3 years ago is 33 minus 3, and this will give us 30. Right, so they want the ratio. So the ratio between Danny's to Eric's. Okay, so with this, Danny is to Eric. So Danny is 8, Eric is 30, right? Is this centered? It is. All right, okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to center this. Okay, Danny to Eric is this. Okay, I'll make space. All right, so Danny to Eric is this. So what's the common multiple? Right, multiple for 8 and 30 is 2. Right, I'm going to make this pretty small, right, like this. Okay, common multiple. So we just divide by 2. Okay, let's see if the final answer is we just divide by 2. Okay, divide by 2. In this case, for both sides, that means a divided by 2 is 4. And 30 divided by 2 is 15. So the answer to this is 4 is to 15. There you go. So let me just duplicate this. 4 is to 15. All right, that's it. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 29. Okay, so 29 over here says, let me zoom this in the figure below, ABC, CFE, and BFD are straight lines. ABF is equal to 157 degrees and BCE is 120 degrees. Find CFD, which is this over here. All right, so let's go through basically CFD. We want to know. Okay, but first we want to know what a straight line. So we know ABC is a straight line. We know what do you call this? CFE is a straight line, and we know that this part BFD are also straight lines. Okay, so what we want to do is we just calculate the angle BCD first, right? So let's have the angle, right? And then BCD is equal to 180 minus 157, and that's equal to 23 degrees. Okay, degrees. All right, so we know angle BCD is 23 degrees. Let me draw this over here. Let me make this blue. Can I make this blue? Blue, right? So 50, make this blue. BCD over here is 23 degrees. Let me put the text in. Should I put the text in blue? Sure. 23 degrees. All right, there you go. So 23 degrees is over here. So we can get now BFC. Right, so let's do that. So this over here, let me just, yeah. So angle BFC, which is this angle over here. Let me make it green. BFC over here. Okay. So shift D, BFC, bloop. Wow, very, very bright. Okay, so which is basically not 180, but 3, yeah, correct, 180, correct. Because we want to minus the triangle, minus 120, minus 23, which is basically 60 minus 23, which is equal to, this is 37 degrees. Okay, so BFC is 37 degrees. So I'm going to put here 37 degrees. 37. Okay, 37. So I'm going to put this is green. So lastly, how do we get the angle CFD? Okay, so angle CFD, okay, is equal to 180 minus 37. Okay, equal to 100 and not 50 but 47 degrees. 43, sorry, 43 degrees. There you go. So CFD is 143 degrees. Okay, so one thing to also take note, right? Little, okay, the answer is here, 140 degrees. I'm gonna write down. Okay, so another way, I don't agree. Another way is, right, in this case, let me put a line. CFD is also 120. Okay, I'm going to put here 120 plus 23. Okay, equal to 143 degrees. All right, so this is another solution. Another solution, which is CFD is equal to 120 plus 23 degrees. Why? Is because any angles, 123 and 23 angles, this two angle is equal to this angle. So whenever it's a straight line, you have two angles, you can actually get 143 degrees in this case over here. So two opposite angles equal to the corresponding angle in this case. So this one's a bit more advanced, but yeah, that's another solution. Okay, so I'll probably update this solution to give a better explanation, but essentially two opposite, okay, so basically the outer angle of a triangle is equal to two opposite angles. So I'm going to write it down actually. So basically, uh, uh, an outside triangle angle is equal to two inner, two opposite inner angle. That's math to you right there. Yeah, so it's a very interesting thing you can do, but I recommend to do this. This one is just a bit more big brain lah, right? Okay, let's move on to the last question, question 30. Right, in the figure below, PQRS is a rectangle. The area of the rectangle PQRS is 392 centimeters square. W and X are points on PQ, so PQ, and YZ are points on RS. YZ are points on RS. Okay, find the total area of the shaded parts. So what do you think the answer is? All right, so this is where you kind of have to understand. Let me just share you an example. So I have over here one triangle in a rectangle. So basically, to get the area of triangle is equal to half times base times height, and this is half. So the base is 10 centimeters times height is 5 centimeters, right? And this will give us around 5 times 5, 25 centimeter square. Oops, square in this case, right? So this one triangle in a rectangle. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward, right? So in a way, we if we know the area of the triangle, then if we know the area of rectangle is basically 10 times 5, which is 50 centimeter square in this case over here, right? We just put here. So any triangle with base same as length of rectangle is any triangle with base same as length of rectangle is always half. Any triangle with base same as length of rectangle means is any triangle with base basically it means that triangle area is equal to half of rectangle area. Okay, so basically makes sense, right? If the base is the same as the length of the rectangle, it becomes half of the rectangle. Okay, so now what if we have another example, two triangles in the rectangle. Okay, I'm gonna draw this out. Okay, so another example of a triangle is 20 centimeters. Okay, so now the thing is that it's actually, so what do you do, right? It's actually twice of this, right? So the area of triangle, so I'm just gonna copy this here. So area of triangle is basically, if you were to guess it, it's just two times, right? So basically is area of triangle is just two times of example number one. Okay, one triangle. Example number two, two triangles in a rectangle. So area of triangle is basically two times of that, essentially. Because if I were to say this is 10 centimeters, this is 10 centimeters, that means this is 20 centimeters, right? Let me put an arrow. Let's see over here, right? This is 20 centimeters, right? Okay, so that means basically just two times of 25 centimeters square, which is in this case 50. All right. What about the area of rectangle? The area of rectangle is 20 times 5. It gives 100 centimeters square. Do you see the correlation? So any triangle with the base of any length, okay, I'm going to put a rectangle here. I'm going to write this down, right? Any triangle with base A or less is basically this. Any triangles with basing of length of rectangle is basically triangle equal to half of rectangle. That's about it. So you can see that even if it's 10 centimeters and 10 centimeters, it will always be half of the rectangle. So what does this mean? This means that if we want to get the area of this triangle, basically no matter how many triangles we add with different base but is the same, you see the base itself, right? You see the base itself is actually the whole rectangle, and then it covers, and the height of the rectangles are always the height of the rectangle. The height of the triangles are also the height of the rectangles as well. So that means any triangles with the base same as the length of the rectangle and height same height, any triangles with the base and height same as the length and breadth of a rectangle, right? It's always this. Doesn't matter. So in this case, what will be the answer? Right? The answer to this is essentially just divide by 2. So in this case, answer, let me put this in a blue color. So the answer is basically 392 divided by 2. Because you can see that the area of a triangle is half. So 39 divided by 2, okay, this will be 18.186, right? So if I were to do the workings very quickly, 392 divided by 2, right? So let me zoom in, which is this 392, right? Let me put here 392, all right, divided by 2, okay? So in this case, for 392, let me just minus 2 itself, and this will give me 1, right? Okay, so this 1, so this will minus 2 in this case. All right, and then what will give us is 1, but we cannot minus 1. We will put 19. So 19 minus, oops, 19 minus 18, right? So 18, right? And this will give us 9. So 9 times 2 is 18. This will give us, right? In this case, 1, right? So 1. And then put a 2 below. So put 2. And then we can minus 12 as well. That's what you see over here. So 6 times 2 is 12, and this will give us 0. Not 2, this is 196. Okay, and then we'll put 0 as what you see over here. So the answer to this is 19.6. Sorry, not 18. Hey, 18 is 939. Let me double check. Oh, yes, correct. 19.6. Okay, see? Must double check. Okay, so the answer to this is 196. Yeah, 18.6 is wrong. This is, there you go. So any triangles with base and height same as length as breadth for rectangle, always like this, no matter what. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. All right.